no shirt, with a few bags on. And we asked him, we were like, hey, do you know anyone are you attending to this unit? He clarified, he said yes. And prior to telling me yes, he told my coworker that he was waiting for his boyfriend to take some of his items out. And then I was like, okay, no problem, but you cannot hang around the facility because it's just an in and out access. Moral of the story, the guy said, no, I'm just waiting for my ex-boyfriend, whatever. And then he stopped me, he was like, but I do want to rent a unit myself. And I said, yeah, you can do that, but from 1 to 2, we're gonna go to lunch. So me and my coworker went to lunch. When I came back, we found that same individual here charging his phone in the dark inside the facility without us being in here. So I kindly told him, like, hey, future reference. So you know who the guy was?
No, I came by myself. I don't.
It wasn't him, was it?
No, I just asked him a question when we were roaming. So this is how things connected, and we saw the camera, so that's why we were trying to figure out what was going on in that situation. But I know that I believe he left a review, or I don't know what you did. You did something, you did an escalation. That kind of connect those two together, because when I told this guy that was here in the facility, I was like, hey, you're not allowed to be here if no one's in the facility. He got triggered, he got mad, and he walked away and was like, oh, you don't know who you're messing with? Not saying it to you. You don't know who you're messing with. I'm gonna make sure your job is depleted. And I said, sir, it's okay, we have cameras here anyway, so don't worry. I know it's my fault that I left that open, but future reference, you're not belong. So he got triggered, he left, he stormed off. When I came here to grab my keys, I walked to the back to look for the individual who, I don't know where he went at, and I ended up seeing him, and I kindly asked him, I was like, hey, do you have a unit number? He ignored me, he looked at me sideways, he just was on his phone, and my coworker confirmed that she rented a unit for him. So I said, oh, I'm sorry, and I kept walking. So what connected those two stories to me was that when he put the escalation, he said cameras, which I never mentioned anything about cameras to him, my name, which he never asked me for my name, it was the other guy who asked me for my name, and the threat that guy made towards my job, saying, hey, I'm gonna make sure your job is depleted because you don't know who I'm messing with.
Does it sound familiar to you?
No, and I left a Google review. There was no escalation. And Lisa Mary, you know, when I came in here, I didn't say one word to you. When I walked in, the first thing you did, you walked past me and you said, what's your unit number? Not, hi, my name is this, not, I didn't know who you were. You were out in uniform. Mm-hmm. And then, so I got on my phone to look for this is my second day here. I didn't know the unit number, so I'm looking for the unit number. Your comment to me was, you don't have a unit number. You did say that. I didn't say
no, I said, hey, do you know your unit number?
And while I was looking for it, you said you don't have a unit number.
No, I never said that. My coworker was there. That's why we was kind of confused as to what happened.
Okay, so let's take that part out. So I'm going to confirm that I didn't say one word to you, but yet when I came in here on the 24th, I spoke with Mace and Maria, even though my email didn't have an actual complaint, but they read to me your actual complaint, and it says that you felt uncomfortable with me. That was a complaint that you had.
I was talking about the other dude that was here.
But it's on me though. You got to understand that I'm the one who got banned, and you didn't clear it up and say no, it wasn't him. You said you were uncomfortable, and I was in restricted areas. That's what it read, and you got to realize I work in pest control, and I cover a lot of these accounts. So if I'm banned from all of these, you know how that looks on me?
I understand what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, your job.
And for you to just wash your hands of it, it's like, oh well, when you guys can clear that up, you know, you can make a call like this was not Jeffrey Jordan. He belonged here. You know, he's not trespassing. Mm-hmm. And I think it sucks that no one did that, you know.
Okay, so I 100% understand where you're coming from in that regard. It's just, it was no communication between you and I. This is my property, and all the responsibility falls on me, not Maria, not Mace, not Cynthia, their assistants. And Maria doesn't even work in this facility. She just came to cover.
I know, she did.
So we have issues where our gates are currently broken. So we are finding a lot of, so when I guess, because we have so many reports being filed right now with homeless people living here, people breaking into our storage and breaking stuff, fire alarm going off, disabled. So there's too much going on. So that's why my concern is like, I need to find out who is this guy who's roaming my facility for 5 hours with no shirt and a thing. And when I mentioned the cameras and the name, it was to that guy that was here. So that's why when you put in your report, your file, something about camera, which
Check the camera.
never...
I said, check the cameras, and you will see that I came alone, and I didn't say one word to you, and that's what my review said.
No, let
I
me
mean,
just hear what they put.
If it's the Google review, that's what I put.
No, it's the escalation.
Well,
So there was an escalation that was put that you said something about that I told you that we have cameras, which I never mentioned that to you. So I was like, how did you know that? And then you were like, she didn't give me her name, which the guy asked me for my name, but he stormed off. So that's why I was like, and that's when I asked you, I was like,
Mary Lisa,
you know, I was like, hold up.
I was here even after you walked off, and you just admitted that you walked off. I was here with Santia. I spoke with her. She actually walked me to my unit because I couldn't find it. So I was here. So you had the opportunity to come and ask me
When
more
I was
questions.
here?
Yes, that day that we're talking about, you had the opportunity to walk up because I am a customer. Whatever you have going on, that has nothing to do with me.
No, that's why I asked you for your unit number. But
And I didn't know it, and I was looking in my phone for it.
And she confirmed it. She was like, oh no, and I was like, okay, cool. I'm sorry, and I kept walking.
So that should have been the end of it. It shouldn't have been.
It was definitely the end. It was your escalation that escalated the situation because you said things that the guy, that I never mentioned to you, that the guy mentioned to us.
Let's read it.
So
my
that's why I
Google
was
review.
like concerned. You know, I was like, wait a minute. I was like,
So it's like because of your review. That's
Is
why.
your
Yeah,
review,
a Google
because it
review,
was-
so retaliation. So that's what it is.
It was an escalation.
But
Then
I
you
don't know
put a
anything
Google
about.
review.
I don't know anything about escalation. I did a Google
So it
review.
says right here, it says, I rented a storage unit yesterday online and I met with an employee, finalized her paperwork, African American woman,
Yep.
can't remember the name, da 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 da. And an occasion, and it says, I used my code to enter the code.
Yep.
Aside, an occasion Hispanic employee confronted me
Yep.
and said that your unit, what is your unit number? I
Yep.
paused for a second and I searched my phone for the unit number.
Yep.
She responded, do you have a unit? This is on camera.
Yeah, this is
That's-
on camera. They are cameras, Mary Lisa. I can look up and
And then
see
you
that there's
said,
cameras, and they tell
we
you
do
that.
have cameras.
Right,
yeah.
and
And
that's
we were looking at the cameras and we saw the guy cross your path and was like engaging with you. We don't have cameras on the opposite side, but we did see that. So my district manager told me to put my perspective. So I
Okay.
did my perspective. But we can always rectify everything. It's not something that is like done. You just said things that the guy said. So that's why I kind of turned the story around. I'm not trying to incriminate you. I just felt very unsafe with that individual. So I didn't know if this guy was your boyfriend or if your friend or.
Where would that even come from? Like my boyfriend. And once again, in your complaint to Mace and Maria, you said that I made you feel uncomfortable. That's what, I read it. They showed it to me. That's what you said. And I was in restricted
I
areas.
said, found tenant boyfriend wandering the property saying he was waiting for a tenant. He was in the facility hanging around for about 5 hours, made his way into the office and also charged his phone without permission while I stepped out for lunch. When I came back to the office, I was inside, so I mentioned he is unable to be inside the office without me. This is my statement. So I was saying the other guy made me uncomfortable.
Okay, but
So that's what I was mentioning.
I just feel that this needs to be clarified because
Okay.
since then you've known that it wasn't me, and I felt like there could have been a phone call since then to fix it, and it hasn't been. You know, that's all I'm saying.
So a lot
is-
of people were involved in this incident. It wasn't just me.
I don't know anything about a lot of people. I only know about you and Santia.
So
That's-
you were stating that you do not know this guy. You do not have a
I've
boyfriend.
said that several times. Like this is the like.
Because it's my first time seeing you like face to face.
So if it's your first time seeing me face to face, how can you escalate a comment against me saying that I'm this or that? If you're saying you just met me face to
Because
face,
of the escalation, like I said, it's two people. I never mentioned anything to you about my name or anything like that, or incriminated you, and this guy did. So that's why I linked. And then when I walked out, you were literally right where the guy was standing at. So that's why I asked you a simple little question.
I got your name from Mace Barnes. They wrote their names down, and Mary.
Their assistants.
No, but you understand, that's where I got your name from. They told me that that's your name. This is the one who put that complaint in. We have cameras, and I said, well, can we review the cameras?
Yeah, corporate
and,
reviews. If you
And,
have
and, they didn't have access because it's not their stores. But I'm like, so I need a time that we can come back so I can see the cameras because you're saying I had a conversation with this person. That is
It was
absolutely
like you guys
false.
were like this. He was a guy with no shirt.
Yeah, I'm walking
and then
in.
That's when I asked you, I was like, what's your unit number? And then you were like, I don't know, you didn't even respond to me. So I'm
Yeah,
like, oh.
but can you see where I'm coming from? You didn't say good afternoon. Hi, my name is this and that. The first thing you said was, what's your unit number? So I'm kind of like, well, who are you? You didn't introduce yourself, did you? No, you didn't. You just said
Well,
you did.
it's just.
But that's not my problem. I see what you're saying. That's not my problem.
Safety here that's happening. A lot of stuff is happening, sir, and I work by myself 90% of the time. So that's why I asked my district manager to bring a guy here, which is Mace, to work with me and to have an additional help because I'm here 90% of the time and these doors are not fixed. So it's pretty dangerous. So if anything that is unusual and unusual activity, I have to act on it fast. And corporate knows this and that's why they're quick to take action. I'm not saying it's you, and maybe it's not you. Maybe I was a misunderstanding.
Mary Lisa, what do you mean? Maybe it's not me. You just said it. What this is a totally different person. I had a right to be here. I had a unit. I was
so
walked around.
So what would you like for us to do moving forward? If you're clarifying to me,
you need to call the same person that you called to ban me from all of these. That's the person you need to call to say, listen, I made a mistake. He had nothing to do with this. Nothing at all. And I had I don't know if you need to write it down.
I can email my district manager and tell her that you came here to clarify and verify that you weren't the guy that was associated with this other person.
All right.
And allow them to make the decision themselves because, like I said, corporate is the one that looks at all the camera. I don't even have access to the camera. They look at the cameras and they do their own investigation.
Right, and I'm not going to hold you up too much longer. And I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.
But what I'm saying is, you did not try to fix the situation. You're letting it marinate, and that's all I'm saying. All you have to do is at least send an email out, which you did not do. So when can I come back? So when can I come back to review this footage of me so-called talking to this person? Because I don't know anybody in Palm Beach.
I gave her my statement.
And secondly, I need a printout of my initial charge here. My initial charge was almost $100, and initially they told me they don't give refunds, and I'm like, I had a unit for 2 days, so how does that work? And I got a refund for $73, so I'm just out that money, and I'm also out a U-Haul that I purchased, but it is what it is. So I just need all of those things addressed.
So the refund, we don't, and it's in the lease. Even if it's for 1 day, I'm just telling you, they don't refund you that money. The reason why my supervisor didn't refund you that money is because of the situation. Because they didn't want it to escalate it any more than what it was. Again, I can shoot an email to my district manager to let her know to at least remove that, but they're not gonna, because of all of this, they're not gonna want any other tenants like that. We already have too much going on, so that's why they take situations like this very delicate when it comes to me because of my situation. It has nothing to do, maybe there was a misunderstanding, correct? I'm changing my verbiage.
Okay,
there
so
was
there
a
was
misunderstanding according to what you're giving me, your information, what you're telling me. But again, I understand where you're coming from, 1,000%. Maybe it was wasn't understanding, whatever. But there's so much I can do because there's corporate that's involved, there's the regional manager, there's the district manager, and if they make a decision based on my escalation and based on what they view, there's nothing I can do. It's out of my hand. This is not the safest area, so that's why they're very concerned.
I get it. I'm saying I'm not going to talk in circles. This is something you set forth. When I was here, that day that we're talking about, you had the opportunity, if you had any doubts or concerns, you should have called the police right then and there, and you didn't. Santia continued to show me around the property. So if there was an issue with me, you should have pulled me to the side right then and say, hey, did you know this person? I'm totally blindsided.
When she told me who you were a tenant, I said, I'm sorry.
She told you that.
And I walked away.
Right, but why did you walk away? That's what I'm saying. Go ahead.
The reason why I walked away because I was still searching for this individual in the facility, and I didn't want him to get away. So that's one of the reasons why I said I'm sorry, and I kept walking. I did say I'm sorry. I know it, and even Cynthia was my witness. She was like, "What?" We came back.
You did.
She was my witness. When we saw the escalation, we looked at each other and was like, "What?" And we were both shocked. We were like, "Oh my God! Was I that rude? Was I?" And she was like, "No."
That's
why kind of
you are her boss, so she's going to agree with you. But the things that I said in there, I'm not lying. When you said I'm sorry, it wasn't in my face. It was kind of walking away
I was
saying,
like, I'm sorry, because
yeah,
it was
okay.
I just want you to understand from my perspective. I
I
get
get
your
it.
perspective,
Mhm.
trust me, and I'm going to do everything in my power to email my district manager to let her know, hey, you came in, you gave me your point of view, it felt sincere, it was honest. What can we do to rectify this? But you have to understand the circumstances. It was a very delicate situation, and the connection was very similar. So that's why I was like, hold up, 2 and 2. So I was like, this is scary. It's a scary position that I'm in right now. Whether you want to believe it or not, I'm in a situation where both my gates are down. I'm by myself 90% of the time. Anything can happen to me. And how we're gonna know? We won't know, right? So that's why my manager and my district manager are very concerned. They're very on top of this situation, and they take any little situation, they're gonna make it big.
I get it. All I'm gonna say is, no one reached out to me. They could have asked me some questions. Who gets banned from all freaking properties without one freaking word, without a conversation, which makes zero sense. That wouldn't happen if the shoe was on the other foot and I'm a guy working by myself. I wouldn't be able to say I felt uncomfortable and have you banned like that, because it doesn't work like that. So I just need you to hear how serious it is for someone like me, for you to say you felt uncomfortable around me and leave it at that. That needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed. And even if you can't fix it, you should have emailed your manager right away once you got the information from.
What information did I give? Because I didn't get any information. You just put an escalation and you put a Google review, and that's what and then I put my statement, and that's what
you're calling the escalation is the Google review. So it's not like I did a Google review. That's all I did was a Google review.
Everything serious here.
Yeah, I get it.
They don't take anything for granted, especially when it comes to the employees.
And the things I said, it's not like it was groundbreaking information. I mentioned, look at the cameras, you'll see. It's not rocket science to see that you have cameras. Plus, I was told that you had cameras. Mm-hmm. I got your name from your coworkers when I came in here. They gave me your names. So it's not like it was, I had addresses or something like that, or where you live at. No, this was basic information. I came down here, I got the information from your coworkers. They showed me exactly what you said about me, and that's all I got to say. But now that we know, none of that's true. I didn't say one word to you, right?
No, you didn't.
Okay.
You just looked at me, and then when Cynthia confirmed that you were attending, I left it alone. I didn't have no suspicions of you. I was like, okay, cool, I'm sorry, and I kept walking. But it was your comment that was based. You were literally saying the same thing that guy was saying. So that's why I thought that you guys were connected, because he was threatening my job, and I'm like, wow, he's really going out his way to make me lose my job.
Where do you see me threatening your job in my Google review?
The guy.
No, but you just said that our comments were alike.
Or you were saying that I didn't give you your name, which is the same thing. You were saying something about look on the cameras. The guy said the same thing too. Yeah. So it was two people saying the same things.
I said that you did not introduce yourself. That's the first thing you said was, what's your unit number? Not, hi, my name is Lisa Mary. I work here because I'm not in uniform. How can I help you? And I gave you a look like, well, who are you? But I didn't say one word to you. And we're gonna just disregard the part where you.
But you knew I worked here because you put it on the review.
I knew that you worked here because your coworkers told me that you worked here.
Prior to putting the review, before you spoke to my coworkers, not even a second when I came back into my office, the review was already on my.
That's
screen.
true, because I heard Santia saying that that's not him. So obviously you work here. When you initially walked up to me, I didn't know that you worked here. I didn't know who you were. It wasn't until after your coworker said, no, that's not him. I didn't know what she was talking about. She says that's not him. So obviously you work here because you walked in the back. So I know, of course I know you work here.
Because you was like, I didn't know you were. So, because that was the situation, and you weren't the only person I asked. I asked other people, what's your unit number?
I get that, but
so it wasn't just you, and that's why it kind of threw me off that you put that escalation.
So it's not a mistake. It was a mistake.
It was just a misunderstanding, a big misunderstanding.
He wanted his name clean.
That's what I'm saying. Just take
email,
accountability without I don't want to hear excuses of why you had to do it. It was a mistake, and that's it.
It was a misunderstanding.
Okay.
It wasn't a mistake because I have to take care of myself.
We don't get involved in it, but I just want to say this kind of sound like you're trying to not get yourself in trouble.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
That's what it sound like. Just might be listening to it. It was a mistake.
You're the media. You're
I mean,
well, I think it was a
I think it
misunderstanding.
should be resolved at your level.
Like even if you wanted to start it, that's all I'm saying. You could have started at that level first.
It should stop at it should be the most. I would resolve it at your level.
Sorry, what was that?
Resolve it at your level. I mean, you have to go through corporate and all that.
Yes, I'm telling you, it's not. They
No,
don't
and,
take it lightly.
and it's fine. It's not going. It's not
Anything like
easy,
that lightly.
and it shouldn't be easy because it's not easy on me. Possibly, and I'm not gonna say I'm gonna lose my job, but
We all
that
make mistakes.
right.
Mistakes too.
And I'm gonna do everything I can to fix it if I made that
I
type
just
of.
feel that
You
I
ever
made a
went-
mistake because we have to take things like this
Yeah, I mean,
serious.
yeah, you did your job.
I had to do my part. I had to protect myself, protect the facility, and look out for other potential tenants because we have people living in the units. We have people doing anything in their power. So that's why I was like, and also I'm protecting my job. Absolutely. If someone is threatening my job, and then I ask for a simple question, and I get an escalation, and then cops are being involved, and a lot of things are being involved. That's like, okay, now you're going out and beyond to really threaten my job. So I have to put my intake.
I'm just once
So-
again, what have I said to threaten your job?
No, it's just the escalation and what you said, what that guy said that was similar.
What do y'all call it? Escalation.
Yeah,
No, I'm
they're calling it escalation for some reason. I
We'll
leave
call
a
it that,
Google review, and I
escalation.
guess it escalates on their end. But all I did was leave a Google review.
Oh, so escalation is that. It's like when something is like drastic, they take it as an escalation.
This is the CAD number. It is saying that we came out. This is the CAD number.
All right, you have a 1-800 number.
Yes. So it's 1-800
1-800
457
457
4678.
5678. And last thing before you go, can you print out my initial charge that I got charged when I first got here?
Yeah, so I'm gonna send an email to my district manager and see what they can do to at least waive that. And I will read your statement as well.
Maybe 3 months.
They're not gonna let him spread it.
I wouldn't want to because you see how that's permanently screwed me over.
Listen, this is corporate world.
But no, but that's not the point. That it's a lot of storage. If I have my U-Haul truck and I already partially moved some stuff, that is another cost for me to move my things back out. But no one cares
Do you
about
still have
that.
your stuff in there?
Of course not, because they told me I had to move out. Like it was like 2 days. I had to move out that day. So it's
Yeah, but honestly, I'm gonna try to email my district manager and explain to her if she's most likely not gonna want to deal with this.
District manager is local.
No, she has like 2 districts right now.
What's a district? Like Palm Beach?
No, she has like different states, so she's like all the way in Georgia. So everything's virtual. That's why they're very like, my regional manager is in Tennessee and my district manager is in Georgia. So that's why they're very like protected.
How does your company, like saying regional and district, like how, you know how a regional could be from Miami to Tallahassee, that's one region. Like how big is the region?
The region is pretty big. It's like maybe like 4 or 5 states, and then the district is like about 3 to 2 states. It's very weird because we have like over 400 locations nationwide. What's your unit number?
I don't have a unit number.
Yeah, they already moved you out. I see.
I mean, Mary Lisa, you know that
I didn't do
they.
any of this stuff. All I did was just put my statement and Richie and my district manager, and we just dates to put everything else and corporate. I kid you not. This is honestly, I've never had a situation where someone escalates something so much. So I just did my part, and then they took it upon. They did everything else on their own.
It was A394.
1894.
A394.
We would want your receipt, correct?
My initial fees when I got here, I had to place less than 24 hours before I was told I had to leave.
I'm gonna print out your receipt and then
Something going to court.
But you see where I'm coming from, you know, because how many times you get messed over in life where people just figure, oh well, we're gonna screw him over and that's it, and I'm not supposed to say something about it. You know what I mean? Oops, it was a mistake. Well, let's try and fix it. You know, that's my thing is let's try and fix. Now that you know that it was wrong, I'm not gonna sit back on my hands and like this and see where the chips fall. I'm gonna say, you know what? There was a freaking mistake, not a misunderstanding. We know that it was a freaking mistake, and I came here alone. I belonged here. I had a unit number. I paid my good freaking money. You know, but.
What do you want to do? What was your statement?
Doing fees.
Thank you for listening to me, officer.
Okay, let me give you your receipt. This is your receipt this is the payment that you made. It's according to this receipt that I have here, and then this is your ledger. These are basically all your payments here. So, future reference, Jeffrey, you know, if you have any concerns or anything like that, come to the person directly instead of because it's like text message. When you have a misunderstanding with your partner or friend and you're writing through a text message, what's gonna happen on a text message? You're gonna read it through your perspective, through your lens, and it's gonna get misinterpreted. So it's always best that if you have any concern or you felt uncomfortable with my approach, come to the office and speak to me directly, because when you write a review, whether your intentions weren't to sabotage anything, it's gonna be read through the lens of whoever is receiving that. So that's why when you wrote that review, unfortunately, it coincided with what this man was saying as well. So it misinterpreted and literally caused the biggest chaos that shouldn't even happen, to be honest with you. So future reference, and also with me, future reference is to also approach you in a different manner and approach anyone in a different manner. But overall, text message, writing, emails can get misconstrued by anyone's perspective through their lens of their ego. So that's basically what happened. And I know you want me to say it was a mistake. Fine, I have no ego. It was a mistake. But from my perspective, it was a misunderstanding. That's how I can say it. So I'm gonna write that to my district manager. However, they're still gonna ask for you to remove your stuff. That's just part of the policy and the protocol.
All right.
So I'm gonna do my best to.
I got what I needed pretty much. So this 146, this is what I was billed, right? This 146. And I got back $73, which.
No, that's just the total of the amount that you would have been paying. Let me give you something. So that's the thing, I'm only seeing two receipts here. I'm seeing the receipt of the payment that you made, which is a total of $73, and then they refund you back $73.11. I don't see anything about $100 here.
All right.
So look, it's like I have a receipt here that you made a payment with your debit card ending at 4730 of $73.11.
Last thing, is there a way to get the whole number other than just the last 4 digits?
Oh no, we can't do that.
All right.
Yeah, that's right. We don't even have access to that. And then they refund you that same amount of money. So they didn't, I don't see anything of you paying 100 and something here.
All right. So my other card, because I use 2 different cards, so the other one I guess is not on file anymore. Does it? It just shows the one card. Does it show like a reoccurring payment method?
Let's see. It isn't showing anything right now because you're moved out the system.
All right.
But
All right.
let's see your, I just got payments and receipts here. What else do you need?
That's it.
Do you need the letter, the eviction letter?
No, I had that in email. I got pretty much what I needed. All right.
Do I have your email? Because I'm going to CC you the email that I'm going to write to my district manager.
Okay.
So we can all be in the email.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to write whatever you need to write and say what you need to say,
I don't need to say
then
anything.
you're free to say what you do. But, what else can I do for you, sir?
Nothing. Just
Okay, so I apologize personally if there were any mistakes or misunderstanding. But yeah, future reference, I learned something, and if I can give you any advice, just come personally to the person, because you never know what they're battling with or what's going on internally as well. This is my number, so you can call me personally too, okay?
all right.
Remember the email. All right, thank you. Sorry about that. Thank you. What's your name?
I'm out. I appreciate your time. Okay. I know you got things to do.
All you gonna do that?
Huh?
All you gonna do that?
No, but I'm saying it's like initially I know you don't have all the facts, so this come off as BS, but you know this is some real stuff. You know what I mean? When you accuse me, a black guy, of her secret ass email saying that I made her feel fucking uncomfortable.
Yes.
Like, come on, and then she tried to clean it up. And so I was talking in circles after a while. You know what I mean? I was talking in freaking circles. So, like, yeah, I just wanted to get that out there, and I'm, gonna turn this in. I appreciate.